Okay, we're going to be starting here in just a few seconds. Hey everyone, it's Kimberly Surovchak here. You know me at Homes by Kimberly Gets Results. I am really excited today to be doing my first interview with some of our local businesses. Today, we are meeting with Travis Wurz from Wurz Financial Services. And Travis, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Wurz Financial Services?
Sure. My name is Travis Wurz. I'm a financial planner at Wurz Financial Services. What we do is specialize in people that want many things, but one of them is a work optional lifestyle. So we work with professionals and pre-retirees that are looking to the future and want more than just your typical hold an investment with somebody. They're looking for a relationship, and more importantly, looking for some kind of strategy, and especially in times like right now. So it's one area that we specialize in is having strategies to protect risk when we have these crazy times in the markets that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, I'm sure people are very curious on what you're going to be providing. And we know today's it's more very informal, so we don't want people to go make any rash decisions based on what we're talking about today. But it's more just to give a general, just kind of like a snapshot of what's happening kind of in the crazy times like you mentioned. So basically, what is happening in the market right now, and what do you think things are looking like ahead?
Yeah, like what you said, fear has really gripped the market. And the reason for that is what we've experienced in the last month or so is really something that nobody has experienced before. And, we went from being at record highs at the end of the year and record highs in February to this super fast, vicious decline going into a couple of weeks ago. And some people have compared this to even worse than 2008, just from how fast that it happened. And it feels very crashy, I guess you could say, and it's made people very fearful. And so we don't want to make fearful decisions, but everybody's asking, what's next? And there's so much uncertainty. And I wish I knew the exact answer to that.
Right.
Everybody's asking me what's next, and I would be a billionaire if I knew that. But my brother, I didn't mention I work with my brother. He's down in Cincinnati. We kind of cooperate things, but he always says the only thing that we can do is manage risk. That's really it. So the beginning of February, this looked like just your typical correction. Things were down, maybe they'll come back, and things were really high. This happens, and then things started to keep going down more. Maybe people weren't taking this as seriously as nobody was, and then the government's just pushing more money, and things are just collapsing. And
Right.
then now we see this big bounce in the last couple of weeks, and people are wondering, is it going to keep going? Is it going to go the other way? And like I said, I don't know the answer to that, but I can say two things. This could be a bear market. I think that would be the worst case. Is maybe we are going into some kind of recession, and this is what they call a bear market rally, and those things do happen. In 2008, we had a couple times when the market would rally 10 to 20% even, and then continue to collapse. But on the other side, it could be larger in the short term. This maybe could be a huge rally, and things could come back as we start to see some good signals. So I really could go one way or the other, but all we can do now is just not really worry as much and protect ourselves as much as possible.
Yeah, I can totally understand. Everyone's kind of like today's going to be different from tomorrow, from yesterday. I mean, it's really crazy right now.
Extremely different, right?
And it's not just your business, it's so many businesses. But
Hmm.
right now, are there any positives that you're seeing?
Yeah, and to that, when people ask me what are the positive things going on, one thing I say is if they do have some kind of cure, let's say that comes out, things I believe will come back very quickly, and I think that's a huge positive because this is all just laying on this virus going on. So I think that there's going to be a speedy recovery if there is some kind of cure. A couple of weeks ago, when things were at their absolute lows,
Mhm.
we were seeing some strong buying. So a lot of buying from insiders like big shareholders and corporate executives. And we also saw that in late 2008 and at the end of 2018. So that's kind of a good signal. We've seen people that are wanting to buy. I've even had clients that call me and say, "Hey, I think I want to buy more. I think I have some money that I would like to invest more." So I'm seeing people that are, it might not be the bottom, but people are wanting to buy and they're recognizing that, hey, this is a good time to buy. Also, there's been some asset classes or areas of investments that haven't done all that bad or have been pretty resilient. Like technology and grocery stores. But as we go to tech, like we're doing now, to offer business solutions and keep in touch with friends and family or entertain ourselves, it's any companies that are in the tech sector seem to have been pretty resilient.
For sure. And, with all the uncertainty, though, is there any advice for people that are kind of feeling nervous right now?
Yeah. If you're nervous right now, you're not alone. I think that what's happened in the markets, like I said earlier, it is uncharted territory just from how fast things happened. I mean, it wasn't like things just gradually, and it was like we were at record highs, and then in 3 weeks, 3 years
Right.
of gains were just gone. And everybody's looking back like, what happened? And now all that complaining about how they weren't making money in those 3 years is just gone. But really, even the most experienced investors and advisors, even myself and other people I've talked to, are nervous about this because we don't know what's going to happen. But it's times like these right now that it's really important to keep a level head so that we don't make bad financial decisions, most importantly.
I think that's good
Um,
advice.
yeah.
For
So,
sure.
how can we do that? The first thing is staying calm. Easier said than done, right? But, it's times like this that we need to put everything into perspective, especially if you're maybe young or aggressive. We know the market has ups and has downs. This isn't the first time that the market has tumbled, and it definitely won't be the last. Of course, this is maybe a little bit different, but it's always going to be a little bit different. So there's always going to be these things, and just stay, because there's really nothing to gain that from losing sleep, really. um,
Exactly.
but we also need to keep an eye on things because this is lying on this virus, and we just don't know yet. We don't know anything. We don't know the effects on the economy, and we would love for things to come back quickly, but we just don't know how fast we can get businesses up and running. So I think it's really important to just maybe not dwell on your accounts daily, but just keeping an eye on what's going on.
Yeah.
There's also a saying that when you run into a bear market is a downturn, that you do the same as if you ran into a bear in the woods, which is you play dead. And that's also easier said than done. But doing nothing is better than making some kind of irrational emotional decision because you're so afraid and you can't sleep at night.
Yeah.
Because what happens is you'll do something that you might regret in a couple months, or when this all comes back.
Yeah. Are there, is there anything that people should be doing differently right now?
That's a great question. I think most people are asking themselves. I'll say that if you have some kind of strategy, you should probably stick to it. And this kind of goes back to that last one as well. Whatever that may be, if it's a diversified blend or some kind of stop loss, if I hit this number, I'm out. Stick to your strategy because
Okay.
there's a reason that you put that there. I've seen people that put these things, well, if I hit this number, then I'll go really conservative and I'm out. And then when it gets close to that number, they'll lower the number. And I'm like, well, that completely defeated the purpose of what you did there. So it's important to stick to your strategy if you put one into place. But most people are asking themselves, should I be doing something different? And that's natural.
Right.
I think it depends on where you are and who you're working with as well. If you're managing your own investments, I think it's important to keep the long term in the big picture. Obviously, if you're doing your own things, you don't have anybody to vent or talk to, which is huge. But don't make any huge decisions. It's easy to overreact, when these things happen or markets are plunging. And also, just because we're having, like right now in this last week, we've had this 20% or so bounce. That doesn't mean that we just need to start chasing the market up. So
Sure.
just be cautious. Don't make any crazy changes. I want to break that down. If you're young and aggressive, or you have a long time horizon, 20 years, 30 years, this is really not a big deal. So if you're freaking out and you have a long time, I wouldn't really worry if I were you, because you have so much time. And if anything, if you're really aggressive, it's a great time to buy, or maybe take more risk. It could be.
Mhm.
For your more moderate or middle-aged people, I've had clients in this space where, maybe it's a good time to reevaluate your risk. Maybe you have now decided that you are taking too much risk. Everybody wants to take risk until, the risk factor comes into play. So, I wouldn't change anything now, but maybe, I say, hey, this is really freaking me out. I think I need to, tone things down a little bit. Maybe when things come back up, then change into something a little bit different.
Well,
Uh,
that kind of brings up, it's like when people do get in a panic, they do start changing their strategy. So what you're saying is now the time to start changing that strategy.
yeah, that is also a good question. It's kind of a two-part question. Yes and no. Um, it can be. You can think of it one of two ways, I guess. I say earlier, you don't want to make any huge, large-scale changes to your portfolio because we don't want to be emotional. Um, but also, we really don't know the long-term effects. Where are things going to be in the short term? Where are things going to be
Right.
in the next year? Will things come back quickly, or will they continue to decline? So I think that if you're on the edge of making a educated decision, like maybe you have found a strategy that you'd like to stick to long term, and you're really stuck on it, then instead of taking everything and going from strategy A to strategy B, maybe taking a small amount over the course of a few months.
Okay.
I've done this with people, like new clients, that they come in and say, "Hey, I really like your strategies. Um, we'll kind of keep things the same, and then maybe 20% or so, or 25% of the time, we'll just ease into a different strategy." I think it's definitely a awesome time to buy. It's a great buying opportunity for the long term, just from where things are. But if you're looking at changing some kind of strategy, easing it in would be a good idea.
Okay. Well, obviously we've got the crawler at the bottom there with your information, but you're local here in the Toledo area. Where are you guys located?
Yeah, we're in Holland, Ohio,
Okay. And you
and
also have offices in Cincinnati?
that's my brother works with me. He's down in Cincinnati. The last thing that I just wanted to tack on here, speaking
Yeah.
of strategies, what you'll probably hear from people in times like this is that it's best to find this diversified blend, this optimal balance of risk and return. And while that's better to do that than acting emotionally or abruptly, it's times like this that really reveal how a tactical strategy or tactical management or momentum strategy really works. What that is it's a strategy that employs trying to take advantage of swings in the market to reduce exposure when things like this happen,
Hmm.
to really avoid damage. And it sounds really good, it's like, wow, that sounds obvious, but it's really difficult to do. So that's what we do at Words Financial. We have a tactical approach that we use with our clients' investments because, like I said, all we can really do is manage risk. As things are declining, people have questions, especially people that are in retirement and things. So we use a rules-based trading models to determine, what do we invest in, when do we do certain things, and how do we adapt. I'll give you an example. In February, we reduced exposure of our clients more conservatively, and that proved to be pretty effective. But basically, we try to help people monitor trends and make good decisions. That's about it.
Yeah. Well, in times like this, I think it's important for people not to try going it alone. I mean, trying to figure it out and navigate themselves. I think it's very important for them to reach out to people like you who have
Definitely.
a temperature of what's happening out there. I
Yes,
know.
talking to a third party, if talking to your advisor or a family member, because everybody needs to talk to somebody. But even just figuring out what your strategy is. I've talked to a lot of people that just, fly by whatever and they do whatever they feel like, but figure out what your strategy is. Now is a good time to figure that out. Maybe not change everything at once,
Right.
but maybe an eye opener as well for this is probably going to happen again in the future. I mean, we see this happening,
Yeah.
every 10 years or so in the market.
Well, this has definitely been a very big swing of events in every sector of our world and our life, our daily life. So having people like you that can kind of keep some of the nervous people more grounded right now. No, we're going to all get through this. We're all going to get through this. We're all going to come out and, some
Sure.
may have a few scars, but we're all going to get through this together. And so the hopeful thing, the good thing here is this won't last forever. So everyone kind of keep their chins up. Let's get through this together. But if you have questions, any further interest in your portfolios, feel free, guys, to reach out to Travis over there at Wurz Financial. They're very good over there. They're local. They're friendly folk, and they want to help. So feel free to reach out. The phone number's there. The website's there for you to call. But Travis, thank you so much for joining me today. And
sure. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, uncertain times, but it doesn't mean we have to let it get the best of us. Let's, stay focused. Everyone, don't make any rash decisions. Just stay focused, stay grounded, and we'll get through this on the other side. So, but thanks again, Travis, for your time today. And again, anyone who has questions, feel free to reach out, and we're here to help. Yeah, I'll enjoy your afternoon and stay safe out there, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, Travis. Thanks you.
See ya.
Bye-bye.